According to Southern Utah University Student News, many people graduate high school knowing how to graph a polynomial and yet have no idea how to file taxes, handle a professional interview, apply for a loan, or change a flat tire. A student's ability to get good grades and their ability to function in the real world aren't necessarily related. While there is certainly something to be said for learning for the sake of learning, there is merit for pushing yourself and studying things that are hard. It is equally important that students are being educated on material that has real-life application. High school needs to do a better job of preparing young adults to adjust to life on their own. Whether they attend college or not, they need to gain the skills necessary to survive in the real world. Do you think that the high school system prepares kids for the real world?
No, I don't think that they do. I think they prepare them for college and what's next in their education, but not for what's expected for them in the real world. I think that they need to give more classes that offer how to fill out a W-4, how to write a check, how to simply fill out a resume or do a resume. These are tools that they need in order to succeed in getting a good job and in order to get what they want. As education, yes, they do help them out, but as in the real world, that's something that they will learn as they go, a real life experience.
Instead of just being taught to memorize information or jump through hoops, students should be taught to be self-sufficient adults. In a perfect world, parents would teach their kids the information necessary to survive on their own, but that often doesn't happen. Therefore, the school system should incorporate knowledge on essential life skills into required classes.
Where did you go to high school?
Central Union High School. I graduated in 2008.
Where did you go to college, and what are your credentials?
I went to Imperial Valley College, and received an associate's in behavioral sciences, and then I have a bachelor's from San Diego State University in psychology, and I have a life coaching certificate from Coach Yu.
Do you think the high school system prepares students for the real world?
I think high school gives students social skills or abilities, maybe time management, some study skills, even though sometimes high school it depends on what classes you take or how much homework, maybe like team building if you're in sports. But other than that, I don't remember myself much of what I learned from high school, other than algebra, probably how to do math and how to write papers and research. I learned ceramics in high school, but that's what I don't think it really does, in a sense, prepare them for life, because life is it's a lot more than, and I think you're always learning about life, but there's things that they could have taught us more of instead.
High school students who took the SAT in New York State are college ready. That's according to the College Board. This means 60% of students taking the SATs are not prepared for college level work. SAT scores are down from last year, and News 4's Joe Malillo spoke to educators today about these numbers and what they mean. Joe?
Yeah, Jackie, the latest test results released by the board show high schoolers are struggling in New York State, but colleges are realizing the SAT isn't the only way to tell if students will be successful in college.
I'm just very confident in my math skills and my writing skills.
St. Joe's Prep senior Jonathan Tabor has been working his whole high school career to take the SATs.
They go over the scoring with us and guidance. They make sure they meet with us in classes and tell us how it's formatted.
St. Joe's starts its students off with prep work as early as freshman year.
We have a freshman STEM course, so towards the end of the year, we're introducing them to what the SAT and the ACT, what it means, what those tests entail.
But the success seen at St. Joe's isn't the norm across New York State. According to the College Board, the 2014 SAT scores on average across the state 1468 out of a possible 2,400. The test average for high schoolers taking the SATs in 2013 was 30 points higher at 1498. Owner of Test Preps in Buffalo, Melissa Cook, says there's a lot more that goes into being successful in college than one test.
It has to do with students' experiences in school, as well as, you know, what occupation or what career they're going to go into. It's not just about the test, and many schools are now test optional because of that.
Colleges are starting to realize that SATs might not be the best measure of a student's success in school.
You know, some kids just aren't standardized test takers. Every year I'll have a couple really great students, very high average AP and honors courses, but they're just not test takers. And so some schools are now test optional, I think, to accommodate students like that, so that the SAT or the ACT is not, they're trying to say that it's not the be-all and the end-all.
Jonathan's test is coming up in a few weeks, and he'll continue to work hard to get ready.
I am kind of nervous about the test. Obviously, you want to get the best score possible, but also it's just kind of, you just got to remind yourself that it's a test.
Where do you work?
I work, like I said, I work with the County of Ontario, the Public Works Department. I've made a career in the county. I've started as an office assistant 3, like 13, 14 years ago. And then I was promoted to an account clerk 3 due to my previous experience in education. Then after being an account clerk 3 for a few years, I was promoted to an office technician, which is a little more overseeing the overall functions of the department, taking care of HR paperwork as well as processing payments for invoices, projects, and things like that. And then the opportunity became available for me to be promoted on a temporary basis to a fiscal manager. And because of my involvement in the department, I was able to work as an acting fiscal manager for almost 4 years.
Do you think you were prepared for this job while in high school?
I think the fundamentals of my career I've obtained during high school. In Mexico, when you graduate from high school, and I've never gone to high school here, so I'm not sure how much different it is, but I don't see kids graduating in these generations and having being prepared to just take on a job. I've graduated with as an accounting technician when I graduated from high school, but also I have already worked. My last year of high school, I was already working at the same time, and that could have also been part of my work ethics that were preparing me for, you know, taking on a full-time job as soon as I graduated.
According to Catherine Hester in an article written for parenting.com, these are the 7 important things that students are not taught in high school and should be taught. First is what are taxes. Secondly, how to do taxes. Third, how to vote.
Fourth, how to write a resume or a cover letter. Fifth, anything to do with banking, such as checking, opening an account, transfers, balancing a checkbook, etc. Sixth, how to apply for college loans. And lastly, how to buy a car or a house.
How could they change it to better prepare students for the real world?
Probably more emphasis on, you know, time management, real world things like paying bills or, you know, budgeting, and also a lot more emphasis on what students would like to do after high school if they want, you know, more vocational. I think that would be helpful in, you know, employment rates and everything. Also, coping skills, coping mechanisms, you know, real life things because life will stress you out. So how can you deal with that in a healthy way? There's a lot of things that, you know, high schools could change or add to definitely help prepare students more than what they're doing now.
As soon as I graduated.
So do you think that high schools in California are preparing kids to go straight into the real world?
I think you're preparing them to go into college.
What do you think are some things they could do to prepare them to go straight into the real world and get a job and live on their own?
I think they should make it a requirement for kids to do service or voluntary work in an office environment, or depending of what they want to study, if they get to meet with a counselor that can tell them based on what they want to, depending the career they want to take upon as they graduate, they can do something that would help them start growing and start at least define if that's what they really want to be when they grow up. I think it will be very beneficial to them. You have a lot of kids that as they're little they want to be doctors, or they want to be veterinarians, or they want to be engineers, but as they're growing up and as they're in high school, they really don't have the grades, or they're not going to have the opportunity to be that. So they need to, I think they need to experience that first.
I attended Central back in '96, and when I was a junior in '95, they offered a business class that Mr. Evangelist would teach. I recently asked a couple of students to see if they still offered that class, and they don't have that class. I felt like it was a really good class that helped us out. They taught us how to write a check, and they also made us do a business plan, sell a product, find out how much profit we were going to get. And to be honest with you, I think that really helped me once I graduated from high school and went into the real world and got a job. At least I knew how to fill out some of those forms, how to write a check, how to balance a checkbook. Those are tools that I think the kids nowadays don't really comprehend and don't know how to utilize.